bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here, I got time.
Right, good morning and welcome to Teacher the Troddler. As the great Paul Sykes, or legendary Paul Sykes would have said, today I'm right here on the family patch, so we're doing Cross Roads walk number 3. So just a little bit of tidying up. We're back up at Barcroft. I'm just going to spin round. Spin this round 1 second. You see here, this house here used to be the tall house. And I think I've got the right one. I think it's the right one anyhow. Or maybe it's that one. No, I think it's this one. I'm pretty certain it's this one anyhow. But yeah, that used to be the tall house, and this obviously is with the original road right through the village once upon a time. So as you can see here, it came down here. Obviously now it's further up Bingley Road, and it bypasses Barcroft, which is good for people that live on here. But yeah, this was once the original road through the village. So just a bit of tidying up from the last video. So yeah, the tall house at Barcroft. Right, so as I'm wandering about, it's a nice lovely morning this morning. Sun's out. Might be a bit of traffic noise on this first bit, but there's not what we can do about that. You just have to hopefully you'll be able to hear all right, and if not I'll have to do a bit of dubbing over later on. But we're just walking back on Lane Ends at bottom of Bingley Road now, and I just want to sort of give a little bit of a shout out on my videos to people that have helped me along the way. So there's a couple I'd like to mention, but first of all, obviously I'd like to mention Bill Walsh, who unfortunately is no longer with us. He was an old chap who lived in Australia, but lived in Australia and New Zealand, but actually used to live at Lane Ends, and he gave me so much information about village. I cannot thank him enough. And another person who was also a good friend of Bill Walsh, who is still with us, a lovely guy called Brian Morehouse. They've both been legends. So thank you for giving me all the history that you know. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully I can portray a little bit of it here, of the information that they've given me, but should be good fun. The end house here is quite an interesting house, because that used to actually be the house of Irv the Swerve. I mentioned Irving a few times in my videos. Bit of a legend around Cross Roads, lorry driver for Nelson's, and a bit of a character. But yeah, that was Irv the Swerve's house. Right, I'm now on Halifax Road. I think it might be a bit noisy, but the next place I'm going to show you is this place here, which apparently, if I've got it right, used to be Frobish's bike shop. So it used to do repairs out of there, and funnily enough, there used to be a bus stop here, which when they're coming flying around this corner, were probably a little bit dangerous really, so they must have decided that it was a bad idea and moved it, because even crossing this road's quite precarious. But yeah, Frobish had his, from what I gather, had his bike repair shop there, a little shop there, but then he had a showroom here at the other side of the road, where this building is here. He used to have a showroom here, so that's where all the bikes is. I did this a bit of research with the help of Jeff Wilkins, and I hope I've got that right, Jeff, but I'm sure you'll put me right if it isn't. But yeah, that was Frobish's bike shop. We're still on Halifax Road. Obviously the Cross Roads Inn's around here, but at the bottom of this building here, which is known as the Spying Cock because it's quite tall, the bottom part of this used to be a bakery. I've got to be honest, I don't remember this, but there's lots of people that do, so they might be able to tell us what was the name of the bakery and who the people that were there. But yeah, it used to be a bakery for lots of years. Right, I've got two things to tell you just around the corner here. First of all, this house here used to be the home of none other than Ronnie Rimmer, the singing conductor. And yeah, back then conductors on buses used to get your tickets off them, you didn't get it off the driver. And Ronnie used to wear a white pair of gloves. He used to smoke about 40 senior service a day, and he used to live here. But yeah, quite a character, our Ronnie. And right next door we've got Freedom Air Salon, but once upon a time, or for lots and lots and lots of years, this were Bobby Robinson's or Robert Robinson's butchers. And I used to come up here with my granddad when I was a young lad, and he used to have a bench down the side of this thing and counter come this way and what have you. But I think at that time there were two butchers in the village. There were obviously Paul and there were obviously Bobby, but we used to go up here for sausages because according to my granddad, Bobby's sausages worked best. But yeah, Bobby Robinson, quite a character and a very big important part of Cross Roads life. Right, we're getting on a bit now, and this shop here, I'll put a picture up later on, a historical picture, you'll be able to see what I mean. But this shop here on the left, that used to be a sweet shop, and then when we walk down here, further down, I think we can hear with all the traffic. This house is called Smithfield, but for lots of years, when I was a kid, it were a shop. The bottom part of it was a shop, and it were known as Devani's, and then more famously, the last people that had it were the Haleys. And Lee Haley and his family were a family that lived in the village, and Lee's no longer with us, but he was a great lad, really, Lee. Really good lad. And his family still own the building, so they still own the house. So that's Smithfield Cottage. Now this side of the road we've got something very special. This has got to be about as Yorkshire as it comes, because this was Harry Bob Wire Greenwood's clog shop, and the big window here, he used to have his clog making desk, and he used to sit there and you could watch as you walk past, you can watch him making the clogs, and the clogs were sold all over the world. But he's another guy I wish I'd had a chance to meet and sit down and talk to. But once upon a time also we found out that the owners that have it now found an old fishmonger's receipt, so probably once upon a time they must have sold fish from there. But yeah, Harry Bob Wires. Right, so the house, the building across the road, Material Worth, was the first building owned by the Leeds and Cross Roads Co-op in 1862, and as you can see, the rest of the Central Co-op followed on over the next 30 or so years, and obviously there were extensions added as it went. It's now run Material Worth's now run by Jill Lightfoot and her partner John, and they kept Cross Roads toilets going for a number of years by opening and closing them 7 days a week, so we'll never forget that. And they also, during the first pandemic lockdown, made masks at an alarming rate, and I would like to say I think Cross Roads was at the forefront of mask wearing, so we tried to protect everybody as quick as we possibly could. But yeah, that's Material Worth, and then I'll come on to the Central Co-op in a moment. So yeah, this is a Central Co-op, and obviously this followed on up until, so I think 1898 when it was finally completed. But you can see still some of the original upper windows are still there. It's owned by Ian Metcalf and his son Will, and they're fantastic people, really good, and they're trying to make this building work. So we've obviously got the Cross Roads Indian Ham and Tulla Fusion right ahead, and then we've got the fantastic Burnt Bear run by Cam Thornton, really nice in there. And then just next to the Burnt Bear we've got the Kitchen Cafe run by Sarah, and then at the bottom we've got Swag's Air Salon. And Swag's used to be part of the Co-op, and it was I think it was a menswear shop to start with, but also it was Paul Leadbeater's shop for quite some time. I remember it as being Paul Leadbeater's shop, so that's where he started, on that side of the road. But we're about to go up that road and try and see if we can get hold of Paul. Right, so we're about to enter the legendary shop of none other than Paul Leadbeater and Son, and Paul Leadbeater's been operating in village for well over 50 years now, and to say he's a character is an understatement, and I've managed to persuade him to at least let me have a quick word with him, so I managed to catch you on your own, which is a good do, and I know you don't want to be on, but I really thank you for at least letting me talk to you. So Paul, you've been here over half a century, and you'll have seen plenty of changes in Cross Roads, won't you, in that time? Yeah. Once upon a time you'll have known everybody, and it's not quite like that anymore, is it?
Not at all.
No. But I was just saying, you used to be on the other side of the road. I remember when I was a kid. I remember you being over there.
When Co-op closed.
Yeah, I remember you. I remember when garages were at top. You having a little, you had a little trials bike for Craig in there. I remember it. That was a long time ago, so I remember all of that. But what we would say is definitely Paul's burgers, sausages, meat is absolutely fantastic. I can say it firsthand.
Thanks for commercial.
Come and use the shop. That's what we said, Paul, isn't it? Come and use the shop, and you'll get a fair price.
Shop local.
He is also known locally as the housewife's favourite. So if you're a bloke and there's a lady in the shop, you'll probably get ignored. Just pre-warn you. Thank you, Paul. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
And there's Chris Chris and Craig get back, but they're obviously camera shy. I better not poke it through, but anyhow, cheers Paul, thank you.
Thank you.
You see, I can't overemphasise that enough. That's what's called being connected in Crossroads terms, because there ain't many people had agreed to do that with, so I'm absolutely made up that he's agreed to be on film. Oh, nothing else. I just want to show you this. This is another legendary shop. This is Albert Snowden's shop, and unfortunately Albert's had to knock it on head here. He was going to retire a couple of years ago, but decided to try and keep going, and unfortunately he had a stroke and he was in hospital with COVID, so I'm hoping he's alright, but he's decided that's definitely it and he's up for sale. But another part of Crossroads history passing us by, and I remember coming to this shop when I was a little kid and I had to carry potatoes home for my grandma, so Albert Snowden will always be a part of Crossroads history, and this is definitely a man who should write his life story, because it would be something to behold. But yeah, these two shops are so iconic for this village, and I hope they always remain as shops. Right, so we're coming up Cecil Street now, so we've got Swags at the bottom of the road there, and we're coming up Cecil Street, and Cecil Street actually used to be owned by a co-op. I don't know if it still is, I think some of it might be, and quite a few of our war heroes have lived at Cecil Street from the time, including George Feather, our military medal winner. So, but that ain't the reason I'm coming up here. The reason I'm coming up here is just round this corner. I'm going to flick my camera around now. Just round this corner here, you see this line of houses here? They used to be garages. I just stayed at Paul Ledbeater, how his son used to have trials back here. I remember him having it in there, but this is the bit where I came up here for. So round back of here is a car park for the co-op. But here, when I was a kid, where it's now a woodwork machinery place, but when I was a kid, this was Albert Snowden's where he used to keep all his trucks. And at back there, wet fences, he used to have loads and loads of sort of like derelict old trucks, and we used to sneak in on a night and play in them, and occasionally catch us and come shouting and bawling and what have you. We'd have to go and run in for it, but yeah, and I remember saying to you that I used to have a shortcut, and the building behind Albert's didn't used to be there, so there used to be like a thoroughfare down this left hand side, and I could go all the way up to Gary Roberts from here. But yeah, obviously they've built extended the building at the back now, so that wouldn't be possible, but back then that was like a little shortcut for me. But yeah, that's Albert Snowden's lorry yard. Right, so I'm now looking at the almshouses, and before this was here, this used to be Leeds Farm. Did this all used to be sort of Leeds Farm? In fact, I think we call both sides I think Leeds Farm, but this was known as the main Leeds Farm. And the almshouses were actually built in 1926 by Joseph Midgley in honour of his parents, William and Sarah Midgley, and they're absolutely fantastic, and quite a lot of old people from the village are living there. They're occupied and they run very, very well, and they also allow us to put the Christmas tree up here, which is fantastic. And a little bit further down, the house in the middle, the manor house, is Leeds, the manor house for Leeds, and historically this is very important. In fact, we're not far off unveiling a plaque there, because the famous Crossroads author L.O.L. Sutcliffe lived here shortly after he was born in Bradford, but he lived here for the first 3 years of his life. And we think his father came here to be a teacher, because his father was a teacher, and they left because his father got the head teacher's job at Bingley Grammar School. So both very, very historically important buildings then. And obviously I've got a old picture that I'll put up before the almshouses, and once upon a time it was owned by Jimmy Greenwood, was Leeds Farm, and Jimmy Greenwood used to serve milk on a horse and cart before my time. But I've got a picture of Jimmy Greenwood's wife feeding the chickens on here. And then if I swing round here, we've got what used to be the paper shop, obviously Shars for many years, and prior to that it were Ken and Vida Plum, the wonderful Ken and Vida Plum, who well, I don't know how long they were there for. They must have been there 30 years at least. And then around the back of here, it's now, I was going to say, the shop in the middle, Wiles Bakery, which I'll show you in a minute, has now moved into this end. They're renovating it up, and they're doing a fantastic job. And round back of here is what used to be Wiles Bakery, and it's very poignant to me, because the first place I got a job when I got my national insurance card was here at Wiles Bakery, and my job was to push the biscuit mixture through the biscuit machine, which sounds like an easy job, but it wasn't actually. It was quite difficult, and you come in with sore hands, not wanting to complain. And they're on a tight ship. I'll say that they're on a tight ship, and this was entrance to the factory at back, and you had to get yourself ready for work and then clock in, and then you had to clock out before you break, and then wash your hands and all that sort of thing. So it was quite strict on how we operated, but they gave me an opportunity, my first job, so I thank them for it. £1.20 an hour. So I don't know if that tells you that I was underpaid or whether it was just a very long time ago, probably both. But yeah, that's Wales Bakery. Oh, and down here, let me just show you this. We know, I think in the first or second video, I showed you the original St James's Vicarage. Well, this for many years was also the vicarage. In fact, it's called the vicarage now. And growing up as a kid, the most famous vicar that I remember being there was Peter Lee. But I think it's relinquished now. That and I think obviously Peter Mullins runs both Haworth and Cross Roads. So yeah, quite a bit of history there. So yeah, so this is Wales Bakery. They do a fantastic job, so they're moving next door soon. But yeah, they're really good to us at Village. Helen and the staff there are really fantastic. So that's Wales. I just want to show you a couple of other things. Oh, I've got a bloke here, try not to get them on camera. This is Frith Street, and the bit of history regarding Frith Street is there's 3 streets next to you. There's Frith Street, there's Annie Street and Rue Street, and they're all named after the children of Innocent Taylor, who was quite an important person at Village. But looks like they're having a bread delivery, so I better cut this one short. Right, just another little quick one here. This house here at Cragley is quite worth note, because this once upon a time used to actually be where our police officer lived. But that must have been a very, very long time ago, because I certainly weren't there when I was a kid, because all the time that I was a kid it was owned by the Robinsons. Yeah, Phil and Kev, I've forgotten what his dad's name was, but yeah, they all did the Robinsons. We're getting around fairly quick this morning. I don't know whether it's it just feels that way, or it's because they're all so close together, all the history that I'm doing. So just one that I want to show you now is this place. Try and do it that way, might be easier. So you see behind me is G Moore and Co's. We've got Jason and Ian and Scott, all fantastic, all give so much experience. Oh, we've got Mal. Do you want to be on film or not? She don't want to be on film, right? So we have to go back around this way. I'll get out of film. Sorry, Mal. Anyhow, it's been G Moore & Co for a lot of years now, and they do a fantastic job, and very reasonable quote. So come and give them a bit of business. They're really good to me. Antic Village Association. But once upon a time, it used to be Henson's Paint and Decorators, I believe, for lots of years. And I don't know if they're related to Mick Henson, who used to play for Cross Roads Bowling Club, or if it was. I'll tell you about Mick Henson anyhow. Mick Henson were known as Nerves, and they were called Nerves because he smoked about 20 cigs every time he had a game of bowls. And but in all fairness to him, he could play a bit, could Mick Henson. He knew Cross Roads Green like back of his hand, and were a fierce competitor. I think him and Mick Walsh won about 40 million doubles games without losing for about 10 years or something. So quite a formidable pair. But yeah, that's the history of that little building. And then if I spin it round, I'll tell you what, I'll do it in another section. Right, so if I spin it round, just want to show you St James's Church. And I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll just walk around this side. Something else I want to show you here. So I'll walk you at front and then we'll walk around, because we're not in a rush. But yeah, this is St James's Church, and St James's Church actually started at a cottage down at Bocking. And then it moved up here, and prior to this there was an iron church here, known as a tin church, but it was actually an iron church. And this was built in 1910, the stone church was built in 1910, and quite a lot of the money for the church was given by the Merrills. And I've got a picture somewhere, but it's a pretty grainy one, so I can't really show you it, but yeah, here's the foundation stone, signed by Michael Herbert Merrill. It says of Law House, Haworth. And what some people sometimes get confused with is that Law House was at Haworth, and Law House was up it where the Bronte Hotel is, where Lochcliffe Crescent is. But it wasn't in Haworth, it's in Lees. I sound like a stuck record, but it's quite important, is this. But it was known as Law House, Haworth, because at that time Lees and Cross Roads came under the Haworth Urban District Council after we joined from Bingley Council in 1896. So it was quite common for people to like put Crossroads, like they do now, Crossroads Keithley or Crossroads Bradford. Quite common them front and right, you know. Lee's Howarth. So that's the reason why. But Law House definitely in Cross Roads. Just let me make that clear. But the Merrills obviously gave lots of money to Howarth Church as well. So coming up round the back of the church now. Obviously it's bell on a Sunday morning. That sometimes if you'd been out and had a few sherbets for a bit of a test. And then around the back of here, this is so completely different now. This is a little church hall here, but once upon a time there used to be a divide here. There was nothing, and then there was quite a big church hall here. And I've got a picture on that. I'll put it onto you. And this church hall were quite historic, really, in lots of ways. So I remember going to rummage sales there, and I also remember going to. They used to have films on a night, so they used to have Hammer House of Horrors, The Prince of Darkness with Peter Cushing and what have you. And I used to sneak in when I probably before I was allowed to, should have been in there, but I managed to get to sneak in. And this is where Crossroads Panto used to be. So Dennis Bottomley and lots of other people. In fact, I've got a few pictures there from when Keith Marsden used to run them. So it's a shame they got rid of it, really, because it was quite a decent building, but obviously needed a bit of money. And they've tastefully. The replacement's been really tastefully done. You can hardly tell that it's not part of the original church. So, but yeah, that's the old church hall of St James. And then if you see up there between the terrace houses, there's Greenhead Farm, and Greenhead Farm for many years was owned by the Merrills, and the tenant farm was there for a lot of years was the Reddy Offs, and I think it was David and Herbert, and Herbert used to deliver our milk, and you could set your clock by Herbert's clogs, because Herbert used to wear clogs, and at 8 o'clock on the dot he'd hit Nelson Street, and that'd be Herbert. So quite a lot different, this is where you sort of see the difference in the last 30, 40, 50 years, how it's changed. And then in the 60s, when the Merrills sold up, it was bought by the Holmes family. So Arthur Holmes bought it, and then obviously his son Peter on the farm, and now Robert, his son running. But there's a flat slab at the bottom, and I remember Arthur Holmes sitting down, that used to sit there with his dog on an evening. But yeah, that's Greenhead Farm. Right, we're now outside Cross Roads Chip Shop at the bottom of Air Street. The legendary Cross Roads Chip Shop for me, because obviously I just live at the top of this road from here. So I've been fortunate enough to just spin it round. I've been fortunate enough to live close to a chip shop all my life, more or less, which probably says a lot about why I used to weigh a bit more than I do. But when I was a kid growing up, this was owned by an Italian family called well, I don't know what the surname was, but the kids were called Daniel and Gino. They used to do pizzas. I think first time I'd ever seen a pizza at this place. And then for years there were Tim and Jean that run it. Who can't forget Tim and Jean? They had checker cheeseburgers on, and they used to do pizzas as well. And they also, I remember once Tony Holsworth and I think it was Peter Walsh had a bit of a cool on Luke moment in here, in that they had a competition to see who could eat the most pickled eggs, and I think they cleaned them out of pickled eggs. But yeah, that's Cross Roads Chip Shop. It's now run by the Holmes family who own Greenhead Farm, and they do a fantastic job. It's a fantastic chip shop, so yeah, definitely worth a visit. Right, I forgot to mention, while we're down here, the chip shop used to be actually around the back in a wooden hut, from what I can gather. At the front of here used to be a butcher's called Bert Dyson's, and Bert's Dyson came from Oxenhope. In fact, I think Deanne Brooke, who runs post office SMS, is related to him, and I've got a fantastic picture I'll put on here with him, all chickens or turkeys outside shop. But yeah, this was Bert Dyson's shop in 50s and 60s. Right, we're now coming up Nair Street, round back at Chip Shop, and here is the telephone exchange. Now I can't quite know when this was built, but it was certainly, I think it's been here most of my life. I don't know whether it's been here all my life, so I'm guessing it might be 70s when this was built. There's a vague memory that something sticks in my memory that I can sort of remember a little bit about what before here, but we used to play in here all the time, and they never used to say out. We used to, when we were kids growing up, we used to play in here all the time, football, cricket, we used to play tennis against wall, and if you put your tennis ball on roof, I shouldn't really tell this because my mum will go spare when I say this. I'm going to show you the route up here, and I was doing this at 8, 9, 10 years of age. So where this door is here, right next to where the door is, there's there used to be a bin, and what you used to do is you used to slide up bin, and then the window above it, you could grab hold of it and lever it open, and then use the bars to sort of climb up onto that little roof there, and then you run along that roof there, and then you run up ventilation grill there and up onto that roof. I was doing that for about 8, 9, 10 years of age, something like that. So that were telecom exchange. But prior to that, there used to be the infant school from the school used to be here. I've got a picture of that, and then I think they used to do the school dinners at the bottom as well. So on the other side of Nair Street, well, at the bottom here, it'd be rude of me not to mention that number 7 Nair Street was that for lots and lots of years was that the Hart family. So my good friend Jonathan Hart and his family, and Louis and the rest of them, and Jane. So fantastic. Well, they must have been there for half a century, if not longer. So that's that. And then when we get a little bit further up, we come to what was known as the Institute building. And the Institute building was built in, I think, in 1898. And it's got 4 cornerstones. We've got a couple of Merrills, we've got the Haggis, and we've got at the bottom here Prince Smith, who were quite an important person. But yeah, the Stute, as it was called, used to do evening classes. There was a gymnasium, there was all sorts there. And then and it was owned by the Merrills. The land had been given up by the Merrills, and it was sort of from 1898 up to 50s when it closed. You know, it was well loved, and then from 50s onwards, I think it had dropped in popularity, and I think it was Herbert Merrill that actually suggested that they should, in effect, close it, and they did. It would decide to close it, and it would take on by the Sea Cadets. So all the time when I was growing up, the Sea Cadets had it for a building for at least 40, 50 years, and then eventually got changed into residentials. But yeah, quite an important part of Cross Roads Street, and a magnificent building. So that is the Village Institute. Right, so we're on circuit ground now because we're at Nelson Street. Now when I say we're at Nelson Street, this is I don't know if there's anywhere else on planet Earth like this, but there's actually 3 Nelson Streets in Crossroads. There's this Nelson Street, which is the middle Nelson Street. You've got the end Nelson Street, which I went up near where Albert Storage Yard is, and there's the other Nelson Street up by East Terrace, which I'll show you some other time. But I don't know if at some point they thought they were going to link them all together or what have you. But you can imagine that brings a bit of comedy when we get delivery drivers coming up. Well, I mean, this looks so completely different to what it used to look like. So when I was a kid, right in front of you here now, where this garage is, used to be Mr. Eddioff's, who lived at end of Nelson Street, Mr. Eddioff's chicken run. So he had a couple of wooden huts there, and he kept a load of chickens. And then this was just sort of like a mud track road down this side here. And then up here where Greenhouse is, there used to be a Nissan hut, a big round Nissan hut, which some guy used to keep a couple of cars in and what have you. But more importantly, you could get in between Nissan hut and round back at Mr. Eddioff's sheds, and there was just a little space you could get into, a little bit of a grassed area, and that's where Crossroads and surrounding streets used to come to play Postman's Knock. So you decide you pick which colour car somebody was going to have, and then you go round back, and if you're lucky you get a kiss of a girl. And then the other thing on this side here, this wall here, there used to just be a wall that ran all the way here, because this used to be a room when I went to Sea Cadet building. And this game here, this is the place where I was introduced to the game by James Brown, who lived round the back, of 3 Bad Eggs, him and Martin Fletcher and 1 or 2 others. And what happened was, it were basically ball tig, and if you got caught like ballies, you had to go through what were known as the Tunnel of Death. And basically what it is, they'd line up along the wall with their arms resting against the wall, and you had to go from one end to the other while they could kick and punch and do whatever they wanted to you. So that was what we call like a baptism, sort of a fire as a young man, and having to do that. And these guys are a lot bigger and a lot older than me. But yeah, 3 Bad Eggs. It should be compulsory. Right, so I'm just going back there around the back of Nelson Street now. So what can I tell you about this? So here we go. Mrs. Scarf, lovely, or Mr. and Mrs. Scarf, lovely lady. And well, lovely couple, fantastic couple. No longer there now. I haven't quite got to know the new couple that are there now, but yeah, for many years, Mr. and Mrs. Scarf. Then we used to have the Bevans that used to live here at number 3, and we've still got James Brown, but Anne Brown, his mum, lived there at number 3. There, look, there's Anne on one of the video. Lovely to see you. I'll come over. I think she's going to come and have a word with us. Is she coming? Here she is. I knew she'd come. I'm just doing my local video around area. And I'm just saying, how different it was. So I'm just going out the street telling everyone what's this is. First with Mrs. Scouse, and then we had Bowser, and then we had the Browns. So Mrs. Brown, who used to be my babysitter as well. And
I never was your babysitter.
yeah, your babysat for me. And
a child mine.
I tell her, she was a child. Well, let's just put it this way. She put up with absolutely no nonsense. She run a tight ship, didn't you? But you were brilliant. You looked after us.
You always said, bring the chess.
And bring the chess. We used to play chess. That was really absolutely fantastic. But so we're going to edit video now. So I'm just going to do. You can watch what I do with last bit. And so across the road here is the old telephone exchange.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes, that's what it used to be. And the best thing about the old telephone exchange is my granddad used to work for the GPO because the GPO used to run the post office. So let me just bear with me 1 second, and I'll come back to see you. But this here, my Auntie Elaine used to have number 7 for a little while. But this here, well, I call it 27 Nelson Street, but it's probably 9 Douglas Street. Used to be my grandma and granddad's house, and my granddad used to run stores for GPO towards them because he used to go up telegraph post to start with, brilliant electrics. But yeah, then he ran stores for there. So his walk to work were out of that house and over that wall. Probably best walk to work ever. But that brings me to end of the third Cross Roads walk. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Feel free to subscribe or what have you. And do you want to just how else you want to say, Mrs. Brown? How else? How long have you lived on here now?
How long have I lived here?
Yeah.
Oh, James, 45 years.
Only 45 years. So, and you know, that's not strange on this street. We've had a lot of people that lived that sort of length of time, haven't we? So, yeah. Dorothy was there a long time, and I've been on and off a couple of times. I've been on a long time. My mum's been on a long time. So but it's.
You've gone away though.
I have. I came back, and then I went away and came back. But that's what work does for you. But so that's the end of the third Crossroads walk. We hope you tune in, and we hope you enjoy the video. Take care from Tito the Toddler and from Anne. Bye, Anne.
Bye.